Thank you very much indeed. Hello, I'm Alexander Armstrong, and welcome to Pointless, the quiz show where high scores count for nothing and obscurity counts for everything. Let's meet today's players. So, welcome, Dorian and James. You're our first pair on the show. How do you two know each other?
Well, we were in the same maths tutor group for our A-levels, and then we both went to Bath University at different times, but we didn't choose to go together, but we ended up there together as well.
Are you still there? No.
Yes, we are.
You're still at Bath. What year are you in?
I'm in my third and Dorian's in his second.
Third. So he's gone a year ahead. How did that happen, Dorian?
I kind of had a hiatus year, as it were.
A hiatus?
I sort of did everything and nothing all in 1 year.
Oh, I see.
One of those.
One of those. One of those. Where have you come from?
Penzance in Cornwall.
You're both from Cornwall?
Yes.
You can share the car ride up to Bath as well?
We've considered it, but not done it yet.
Oh, we'll keep considering it. Save petrol. It's madness not to. Anyway, best of luck on the show. And welcome to Joe and Helen. How do you two know each other?
We work for the same magazine company. I got a new job and Helen took my old job.
Ah.
We had a lot of friends, so we'd meet in the pub. Eventually became a couple, started stepping out together.
Oh, that's a stepping out. Oh, nice.
And we recently got engaged.
Oh, you got to get congratulations. Have you set a date yet? Yes, yes. Right. Have you set a date?
May the 21st?
Yes.
Very good. Yes. Yeah. Well, very best of luck to you on the show. Welcome back, Rohan and Nigel. You were on the show last time. We gave everyone 2 shots, of course, at the Pointless final. This is your second and last chance. Remind us how you did.
Well, when we were answering the questions on our own, we were fine. As soon as we started talking to each other, it all went wrong, so...
You know, it didn't all go wrong. You were a great team. Nigel, you named all sorts of fantastic answers and then plumbed for an answer that was wrong.
Yep.
You got all the way through to the head-to-head.
We did. It was good fun.
You did very well. And, of course, Rohan, Nigel is soon to be your father-in-law.
Soon to be.
Have you set a date?
Yes, we have.
It's not May the 21st, by any chance, is
It's
it?
not, no. Slightly closer.
Because I can't come to both of them, obviously, you know. Anyway, very best of luck to you. And finally, we welcome back Lauren and Scott. You were on the show last time as well. Remind us how you did.
Unfortunately, we got a bit confused between Jordan's children and Disney heroines.
Don't worry, she does all the time, so don't worry about that. What are you hoping is going to come up today?
Maybe some sport.
Sport? You say looking at Scott?
Yeah.
Scott, do you want to pick something for Lauren?
Disney heroes.
No.
Disney heroes, wouldn't that be brilliant? Because we all know about them now. Well, very best of luck to you. We'll find out much more about you all throughout the show. There's just one more person for me to introduce, though, and he's the man behind all the facts and figures. He's my pointless friend. He's Richard.
Afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, Richard. What sort of show have we got today?
Good. We've got 2 returning pairs, and Rohan and Nigel were very, very strong last time, so I suspect they'll be looking to go all the way today. But Lauren and Scott were also rather good. But now we bring along, I think we've got the first ever Pointless contestant in a hat. That's Dorian. We've also got the first ever Pointless contestant in a coat. That's Dorian. And we've also got the first Pointless contestant that's almost certain to, in the future, become Doctor Who. And that, of course, is Dorian. So I think it's a fairly open field. Best of luck to everybody.
What colour would you say the coat was? I'd call that Dorian Grey. OK, we've put all of our questions to 100 people before the show. This is pointless, though, so we are after the obscure answers that they didn't get. To stay in the game with a chance to win our jackpot, all our players need to do is score as few points as they can. Sounds very simple. What everyone's trying to do, of course, is find a pointless answer. That's an answer that none of our 100 people gave. And every time that happens, should it happen, we will add £250 to the jackpot. Nobody has won the jackpot for the last 5 shows, so we add another £1,000 to that. So today's jackpot starts off at a very tasty £7,500. Not bad at all. Let's play Pointless. So in the first round, each of you must give me one answer, and you cannot confer with your partner. Whichever team has the highest score at the end of the round will be eliminated, so just be careful. That's not you. If anyone gives me an incorrect answer, they will score the maximum of 100 points. OK, our first category this afternoon is international relations. International relations. Can you decide in your pairs who's going to go first, who's going to go second? And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. OK, let's find out what the question is. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many NATO members as they could. NATO members, Richard.
Yeah, quite a tricky one, this. We've all heard of NATO, but who's actually in it? There are 28 members of NATO as of April 2010, and we're looking for the most obscure of those.
Right, now, Dorian and James, you all drew lots before the show, and you get to go first this afternoon. Dorian, is this an area you feel any confidence in at all?
Well, I don't mind geography, but I've never actually come into contact with NATO, thankfully. I don't think it ended very well.
You think NATO versus Dorian would
End badly for them.
bit of a showdown?
But, I'm going to assume there's some sort of... some relation with the Commonwealth, so I will go for Canada.
OK, you're going to go for Canada. Seems reasonable enough. You're hoping to score as few points as possible. North Atlantic, Canada.
Yes, exactly.
Stands to reason. Let's see if it's right. If it is, let's see how many people said Canada. It's right. Nice low score. Look at that, Dorian. 23, not bad at all. So Canada, Richard?
Yeah, very good start, Dorian. So wearing a coat, obviously a very good idea, it turns out. Canada, one of the original 12 members of NATO.
Excellent. Now then, Joe. Joe, what is your magazine?
It's a True Life magazine, women's magazine.
True Life magazine.
So it's love, death, love rats, animals with hats on.
That's not True Life. Animals with hats on? Do you have photo love stories?
It tends to be, we have animal photo love stories.
In hats?
We had a sausage dog and I think it was a Rottweiler.
Did it end happily?
They had puppies.
Yeah.
But
They had puppies.
they had puppies.
Anyway, Joe. Sorry, where were we? What were we on? NATO members. OK.
This is guesswork.
Can you think of any massive countries that have partnered with tiny little states?
I'm going to guess, it's pure guesswork, I'm going to say the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. OK. Let's see if that is a true life story or if it is a work of fiction. The Netherlands. It's right. A very good answer indeed, Joe. The Netherlands. You're appropriately attired in orange there. Richard.
I was going to say exactly that. Yeah, the Netherlands, also another one of the original 12 members, so very good answer.
Very good. That scores you 16. Nigel.
Yes.
Now then, something tells me you're going to be quite good at this.
Something tells me I ought to be good at it, but the mind has gone blank. But I'll go for Denmark.
You're going to go for Denmark. We are looking for NATO members. You're hoping to score as few points as possible with Denmark. Let's see if it's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said it. Denmark. That's good. Very good answer, Nigel. That scores you 9. Denmark.
Yes, again, another of the original 12 members. Canada, Netherlands and Denmark. That sounds like literally the most reasonable organisation in the world, doesn't it? Must be lovely.
Yeah.
We should get ourselves to a NATO meeting. A bit of sort of short meeting in the morning, bit of lunch,
And maybe
head
some
home,
yeah.
sauna.
Yeah.
Sort
No,
out a few
sauna.
problems.
Something tells me they wouldn't wear swimming trunks in a sauna. That lot.
The Danes wouldn't.
No. Lauren, all of which preamble leads to your answer. We are looking for NATO members. You're going to give me a nice obscure one that's going to score even lower than Nigel's impressive 9.
I was thinking of perhaps some bigger countries, but I'm going to kind of go with Nigel's lead and say Norway.
OK, Norway, Lauren says. You're hoping to score as few points as possible. Let's see if it's correct, and if it is, let's see how many people said it. Norway. It is correct. Looking good. 14. Not a bad answer at all. Norway.
Yeah, another of the 12 original members will run out of those sooner or later. It's become name a European country, hasn't it, this round?
Yeah, it has a bit. Yes, sooner or later someone's going to name one that isn't in the club. OK, we're halfway through the round, so let's take a look at the scores as they stand. Well, it's been a pretty low-scoring round. I thought 23 was a good score, Dorian. Turns out I was wrong. It's a rubbish score. You're way out in front there. James, you know what you've got to do.
He will.
He will. OK. On the other hand, Rohan and Nigel, very good answer from you, Nigel. Rohan, keep that up, and you'll be through to the next round. 14, not bad. Lauren and Scott. Joe and Helen on 16. You're going to have to try and answer as cleverly as you can in the next pass to try and separate out the field. Right, we're going to come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, we are looking for NATO members. Scott, Lauren did pretty well there. 14 she scored. If you can score 8 or less with your answer, you are definitely through to the next round.
OK.
Scott, what do you do?
I'm in the automotive industry.
Is that the same as cars?
Yes.
I see, right you are. So then, Scott, we are looking for NATO members. What do you think?
I'm going to stick to an established theme, and I'm going to go for Sweden.
OK. Here is your red line. Quite low down. But Sweden might take you there. Let's see if it's correct, and if it is, let's see how many people said Sweden. Oh, no, Scott! It's Disney characters all over again. That scores you 100 points. It's an incorrect answer. I'm afraid that takes your total up to 114. Richard, Sweden, you said it was going to happen. It has happened.
That's about as bad luck as you can get, because Norway and Denmark are, but Sweden, I'm afraid, are not.
Rohan.
Well, he's just saved me there. I was
He has. Do you know what? I tell you what, Rohan, you can't lose.
I know.
Whatever happens, come what may, you will never overtake Scott and Lauren's high score of 114. Bearing that in mind, let's see if we can find a pointless answer. I bet there's a pointless answer somewhere in there. Who knows? Richard's giving nothing away.
Well, I was just going to go Germany.
OK. That could be pointless. You never know. But there we are. You're saying Germany. You have no red line because even if you score 100, you're still through. Let's see if it's right. And if it is, let's see how many people said Germany. Well, it is correct. 61. That takes your score up to 70. Rich.
Yeah, very good. And as you say, you couldn't lose, so you might as well go for it. They joined in 1955 as West Germany.
Very good. Thank you, Richard. Now then, Helen, you are on 16. If you can score 97 or less, you are straight through. What are your hobbies, Helen?
Cake decorating at the moment.
No.
Hoping to make our wedding cake. So, got to get in a little
do you know
bit
what?
of practice.
I got all my stags to make our wedding cake. We went off my
Really?
stag weekend. We spent the Saturday morning making the wedding cake. Then, shortly before it was put out at the wedding, we had to spend quite a lot of time taking quite a few things off the cake that my stags had thought would be hilarious to have on there. Very good. Right now. 97 or less.
Right. I'm going to play it safe too, hopefully. And I'm going to go for Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
OK, there's your red line. Nice and high. Below that red line, you're through to the next round. Let's see how many people said Italy, if it is a correct answer. Well done. 35, that scores you. Good answer. That takes your total up to 51. So Italy, Richard.
Yeah, none of the original members. This is a bit like European country roulette, isn't it?
It is exactly that.
And so far we've only had one bullet. There may be another out there.
Well, let's see. James, 23 is where you are. If you can score 90 or less with your answer, you are through to the next round. Scott and Lauren, they mean you no ill, but they want you to score over 90.
I'm going to go with Spain.
You're going to go with Spain. OK, here's your red line. Below that red line, through to the next round. Spain, will it do it for you? Is it right? And if it is, how many people said Spain? It's right. You're through. 41. That scores you, taking your total up to 64. Richard.
Yeah, Spain, very well done. Didn't join till 1982, but they're safely in there now. Of the 28, in fact, there's the USA and Canada, obviously, and everything else is European. Most European countries are in it. Sweden isn't, but most others are. Let's take a look. There are no pointless answers at all, actually. There's some very low-scoring ones, but there's no pointless ones. Let's take a look at the lowest scorers. You've got Albania, who joined in 2009. Lovely to have you on board, Albania. Latvia and Slovenia, both of those joined in 2004. They both would have scored you 1 point. If we take a look at the most obvious answers, the high-scoring answers, Germany there was 61, which we've already heard, and then France also was 61, and right at the top, it's us, the United Kingdom, with 70.
Thanks very much, Richard. So at the end of round one, the losing pair with the highest score, it's Lauren and Scott.
We've done one each, though.
You have?
So that's fair.
It is fair.
There'll be no arguments.
There'll be no arguments. I know, I just feel we haven't had anything like enough of you. We've had some dazzling wit, but only for one round each time.
It's a sad story.
Well, it is. It's the show's loss. So who's going to be watching at home, Lauren and Scott?
Family and friends. Lots of new watchers, I think.
Yeah.
Lots of new watchers.
New viewers.
I think my humiliation will be complete now.
Oh, dear. So it's a real shame. But thanks very much for playing. You've been wonderful contestants. Sorry we have to say goodbye so soon. But for the remaining three pairs, it's now time for round two. Now, obviously, there's only room for two pairs in the head-to-head, so one of our teams is going to be leaving us at the end of this round. OK, the category for round two is... It's musicians. Musicians. Can you decide in your pairs who's going to go first, who's going to go second? And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. OK, so the question is... bands and their lead musicians. Right, in this round, we're about to show you some backing bands. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to tell us which musicians they most famously performed with. Richard.
Yeah, we're going to show you 6 backing bands in each pass. The more obscure they are, the fewer points they'll score you. If you give us an incorrect answer, you'll score 100 points. And see if you can get all 6 on both lists at home.
OK, thanks very much, Richard. So the first 6 reads like this. The Coconuts, the Shadows, the Revolution, the Mothers of Invention, the Wailers, Bad Seeds. I'm going to read those out again. The Coconuts, the Shadows, the Revolution, the Mothers of Invention, the Wailers, Bad Seeds. OK, we are looking for the musicians whose backing bands these are. Dorian, I have a feeling you might be quite good on this.
Well, while I listen to a lot of music, it tends to be not pop music.
Oh, really? What sort of music do you listen to?
Electronic music, mostly. Things people have never heard of when you play them and they run away.
What is this electronic music?
Well, OK. Well, if you look up Venetian snares, that's about the archetype of it.
Does it sound like the old sort of internet dial-up?
I love Venetian snares.
Oh, don't you?
It's not like Venetian snares.
Love them.
Is it Venetian snares? Have I said it right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love them.
Does it just sound like things falling out of a cupboard?
You might hear that at first, yes.
At first?
Yes.
But after you listen to it for about 500 times... so these sort of bands, I don't see the Venetian snares really up there.
No, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go for the only one I can actually recall, which is the Wailers, who backed Bob Marley.
Yes, I think they might have done. Well, let's see if it's right, and if it is, let's see how many people knew Bob Marley and the Wailers. Well, it's right. 45. That scores you 45, an appropriate sort of score for this kind of question.
Yeah, the Wailers, they've recorded all sorts of things without him and still do bits and bobs today, but most famously recorded with Bob Marley. Very much the Venetian snares of their day, weren't they?
Oh, the Wailers.
The Wailers.
Very much so.
Very much so.
The Jamaican snares. OK, Helen.
Hi.
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 Dorian has taken Bob Marley and the Wailers off the board. There are 5 options left to you. How well do you know these bands?
Not very well. I've heard of one or two of them. So...
Is music one of your interests?
I know what I like and I like what I know, but there's big gaps in it, I'm afraid. So I think I'm going to be all right on this round now. OK. Now I'm going to go for the Bad Seeds, and I think that Nick Cave is most associated with them.
You're getting a nod of approval from Joe behind you. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Let's see if it's right, and if it is, let's see how many people knew it. It's right. Down it goes. Not a bad answer at all, Helen. That scores you 10 points. Nick Cave.
Yeah, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, 14 albums they've released.
OK, thank you very much, Richard. Nigel.
Right.
Nigel, talk me through the board. You're the last person to have this board, so you can do your thinking out loud.
OK, the Coconuts is somewhere in the back of my memory, but I can't think of it now. The Shadows is Cliff Richard, and that's far too obvious. The Revolution, I should know, but I don't. Had been thinking about Nick Cave, but I'm left with going back and showing my age with the Mothers of Invention, where it was Captain Beefheart.
Captain Beefheart and the Mothers of Invention. It might be the best answer on that board, I'd have thought. If it's right, of course. Let's see if it is right. And how many people knew that answer? Captain Beefheart and the Mothers of Invention. No. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer, which means you scored the maximum of 100 points. Richard.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Nigel. You will absolutely kick yourself. It's Frank Zappa.
Bad luck.
OK, let's take a look at the rest of the board. Shadows, obviously, is Cliff Richard, would have scored you a fairly hefty 64. The Mothers of Invention, as we just discovered, is Frank Zappa rather than Captain Beefheart, would have scored you 11. The Coconuts, do you know who the Coconuts?
Kid Creole.
Kid Creole, of course. Kid Creole on the Coconuts. 25 points. And the Revolution?
Prince and the Revolution.
It's Prince and the Revolution, but scored a very low 4 points.
Fancy. OK, we're halfway through the round, so let's take a look at the scores as they stand. Well, quite a full range. Rohan and Nigel on 100 points. Rohan, you know what you've got to do in the next pass. A pointless, nothing less, nothing more. And it may even then not be enough. Joe and Helen, fantastic answer from you, Helen. Well done. Joe, keep up that low score and you're through to the head-to-head. Dorian and James, 45. Again, not a terrible score, sort of halfway between, really. James, low score, through to the head-to-head. OK, so let's come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, we are going to put 6 more backing bands on the board. And here they are. We have got the Attractions, the Pips, the Band, Miami Sound Machine, the Crickets, Paramount Jazz Band. I'll read those again. The Attractions, the Pips, the Band, Miami Sound Machine, the Crickets, Paramount Jazz Band. Remember, we are looking for the musicians whose backing bands these are. And you're trying to find the one that the fewest of our 100 people named. Now, Rohan, Nigel has left you with a bit of a job to do here. You're going to have to score as low as you possibly can.
Yeah.
What's that board looking like behind me?
Not good at all. I don't know any of them.
Really?
Yeah. This is just the worst category for me possible.
Not a fan of music?
I like music, but it's not something that,
It's music where it's the name of somebody and a backing band you just will not listen to.
Yeah, I really don't know, but I'm just going to have a wild stab in the dark. The Attractions and Diana Ross.
The Attractions and Diana Ross. Well, we'll see if that's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said The Attractions and Diana Ross. Nigel is looking at his shoes. Bad luck, Rohan. Bad luck. Not only is that a wrong answer, which scores you the maximum of 100 points, it takes your total up to an unassailable 200. Richard.
Yeah, she was sang most famously with the Supremes, Diana Ross.
Yeah.
I won't say who is with the Attractions in case either of the other teams wants to have a go.
OK, thank you very much. Joe, Helen did fantastically well with the Bad Seeds there. Can you do similarly well, I wonder? You are on 10. You are through to the next round, come what may. Rohan and Nigel, I'm afraid, are going out in a blaze of incorrect glory.
There's a couple I think I know. I think Venetian snares and the pips.
What sort of music do you like, Joe?
Anything pop, disco. Sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? No, it sounds
probably
right. Do you follow the snares?
Yeah. I've got all their cassette singles, yeah.
Yeah, all like a single. Yeah?
I'm going to go for Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine.
Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine. There it is. No red line for you, obviously. You're through whatever happens. Let's see how many people said that. Well, it is correct. Great answer. 24 people said that. Takes your total up to 34. Rich?
Yeah, great answer. Gloria Estefan is, in fact, married to the accordion player from Miami Sound Machine.
Is she really?
Yeah.
He's her squeeze.
Yes, he is.
Very good indeed. So, James, you're on 45. It does not matter what you say here. However, what if there's a pointless answer?
Well, I think I know two there. One I'm not going to go for is the Crickets, which is Buddy Holly. I am going to go for the Pips, which I believe is Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight and the Pips. Dorian nods. I think that might be right. Let's see if that is right, and if it is, how many people said Gladys Knight and the Pips? Well, it's right. 41, not a bad answer. Good enough to see you through. That takes your total up to 86. Richard.
Yeah, very well played, James. Midnight Train to Georgia was Gladys Knight and the Pips' biggest hit, sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Let's take a look at the other ones there. The Crickets, you're quite right. It's Buddy Holly, would have scored you 37 points. The Attractions, Alexander.
It's Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, of course, would have scored you 16. The Band.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, most famously, yeah. Would have scored you 8 points. And the Paramount Jazz Band?
I don't know.
It's Acker Bilk.
Acker
Well done if you said Acker Bilk at home. His real name is Bernard Bilk. Did you know that? It is.
Really? So he had Bilk.
Yeah.
If he's changing the Bernard, why didn't he change the Bilk?
I think he liked Bilk. He's currently touring with the Venetian Snares. Other prog electronica is available, I'm afraid to say.
Thanks very much, Richard. So at the end of round two, the losing pair with the highest score, it's Rohan and Nigel. Now then, I had high hopes of you going all the way through to the final.
Yep.
Well, do you know what's good? You both scored 100.
Yeah.
Rohan, he scored a good 100, though.
Yeah, mine was terrible.
A good century.
The only thing I knew was Bob Marley and the Wailers, and that was it.
It's been fabulous having you on the show, and I wish you all the very best with your forthcoming nuptials.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you're not funding it with the jackpot. I had high hopes that jackpot was going on champagne. Sadly, not to be, or at least not your champagne.
No.
Anyway, thanks very much for playing. You've been great contestants. Thank you. But for the remaining two pairs, things are about to get even more exciting now as we enter the head-to-head. Well done, Joe and Helen, Dorian and James. You've made it through to the head-to-head. Now, obviously, only one pair can make it through to the final and play for the jackpot, which currently stands at £7,500. You're now going to go head-to-head on the best of 3 questions. You are now allowed to confer. That's the good news. All you have to do is come up with an answer in each instance that scores lower than the opposing pair, and you will win that point. The first pair to win 2 points will go through to the final and play for the jackpot. OK, let's play Pointless. Right, here is your first question. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many Australian states as they could. Richard.
Yeah, Australia is made up of 6 states, and we're looking for the most obscure of those.
Right, you are. Joe and Helen, because you've played best throughout the show so far, you get to go first. OK, Australian states.
Then it's going to be most obscure.
Just as long as it's right.
OK, yeah.
OK,
Yes.
Is it right?
We'll go for Western Australia.
Western Australia. Dorian and James, you can think out loud.
Right, the 5 that they haven't said are South Australia, Tasmania, Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria.
Okay,
Which
well-
of those haven't you heard of?
The problem is I've heard of all of them, so I'm not a very good gauge.
Okay.
What a double act. This is great.
It'd probably be useful if I didn't know them all.
Yes, okay. Should we go for Victoria?
Yes,
Or do
I
you
think
like
it's more associated with a city rather than...
Yes.
Fine.
I think Victoria will go for.
You're going to go for Victoria. This just sounds so expert. Joe and Helen slightly troubled by this. But yes, it sounds like you really do know. Have you been to Australia?
No.
No.
I was going to say maybe the hat came from Australia. Where did the hat come from?
It is actually. It's Australian. It's made of kangaroo skin.
Is it really?
Yes.
OK, so we have Western Australia from Joe and Helen. We have Victoria from Dorian and James. What do you reckon, Joe?
It's going to be close.
It is going to be close.
I think people know the cities more than the states, so fingers crossed.
I couldn't call it. I couldn't call it. Joe and Helen said Western Australia. Let's see if it's right, and if it is, let's see how many people said Western Australia. Well, it is correct. 28. 28 points for the mighty Wah. Dorian and James, Victoria.
That's very low.
It is low. You think that because Victoria is also a city...
Yes.
It's not a city, is it?
It is in the Seychelles, isn't it?
No, but it's not a city, I don't think. It's just because it's...
You are thinking because it's...
Melbourne is the city that people think of rather than the States.
I see. Right, that was your reasoning.
Yeah.
And you think that will win you at this point. Let's see if Victoria is right, and if it is, let's see how many people said Victoria. Right, obviously. Oh! 29. Joe, you said it was going to be close.
Yeah.
You didn't think it was going to be that close.
I did live there for 3 months. I should have.
You should. Well, no, it doesn't matter. You won the point. That's all that had to happen. Richard.
Yeah, the good news is Victoria is the capital of the Seychelles. I'll give you that. But it doesn't get you a point. Yeah, there are 6 states. You know, normally I'd go through them all. We've heard them all, haven't we? So let's take a look anyway.
Why not?
There were a few answers that would have beaten Western Australia, actually. So if you'd gone for Tasmania, it would have scored you 11. And if you'd gone for South Australia, it would have scored you 12. Both of those would have won you the points. There's Western Australia, which, as we just heard, scored 28. Victoria scored 29. New South Wales, 41. And top of the pile, Queensland with 44.
OK, thank you very much, Richard. Now then, Joe and Helen are 1 point up. Dorian and James, you have to win this point to stay in the game. Joe and Helen, win this point and you are through to the final and that chance to play for £7,500. No pressure. Here's your second question. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many characters from Porridge as they could. Characters from Porridge. Richard.
Yeah, we're looking for any named character who's appeared in 10 or more episodes of Porridge across its 3 series. There are 5 characters who have appeared in 10 or more episodes of Porridge.
OK, thank you, Richard. Dorian and James, it's your turn to go first.
I only know one. I'm trying to think of any others. I'm sorry, I only know one. Norman Stanley Fletcher.
Norman Stanley Fletcher. OK, you're going with Fletcher. Joe and Helen. You can talk out loud.
This is Joe's arena, really. 70s sitcom.
Really?
Yep.
So this is music to you, this?
Yeah, I think it's Mr. Mackay, the...
Don't look at me.
It's Mr. Mackay, the screw.
Yeah, you're going to go for
I'm
him.
going to go for him.
OK, Mr. Mackay, the screw. We have Fletcher, we have Mr. Mackay. Dorian and James said Fletcher. Let's see how many people said Norman Stanley Fletcher. It's correct. 60. It's a high score. But Mackay the screw? Mackay the screw. Let's see how many people said that. Mackay. It's right. Yep, that'll do it. That's all it had to do. 37. Very, very well done. Bad luck, Dorian and James. In straight sets, Joe and Helen are through 2-0 to the final. Richard.
Yeah, well played, Joe and Helen. There were 2 answers that would have beaten Mr. Mackay. Let's take a look at all 5 characters who've been in 10 episodes or more. Bunny Warren, played by Sam Kelly, would have scored you 2 points, so very well done if you got that at home. Very good answer. Mr. Barraclough, of course, another prison officer, 16. Mr. Mackay, played by Fulton Mackay, 37. Godber, Richard Beckinsale, of course, 44. And Ronnie Barker's Fletcher, right at the top there, was 60.
OK, thank you very much, Richard. So the losing pair at the end of the head-to-head, I'm sorry to say, it's Dorian and James.
You're just not old enough.
You're just not old enough.
No offence.
And the trouble is, you just knew the states of Australia too well, as you said. You were numb. You were numb to them. You
Yes.
couldn't pick the one that was going to be the more obscure. Oh. Please, though, Dorian, when you come back, please still wear the hat and coat.
Of course. It never comes off.
Do you have hats and coats in colours other than Dorian Gray?
I have Dorian Black.
Dorian Black, yes,
And
good.
a Dorian top.
I'm hoping Dorian Fuchsia might be making an appearance in the next show, but I won't hold my breath. It's been great having you on the show. I know we haven't seen the best of you, but we have another chance to see you next time, and I'm looking forward to that already. Thanks so much for playing. Great contestants. But for Joe and Helen, it's now time for our pointless final and the chance to win £7,500. So, congratulations, Joe and Helen. You've seen off all the competition. That coveted pointless trophy is yours. Oh, yes. You now, of course, have the chance to win our pointless jackpot. At the end of today's show, the jackpot stands at £7,500. You've timed it really well. You've come on the show in time for a juicy jackpot. OK, the rules are simple. To win the money, all you have to do is find a pointless answer. That's an answer that no one else could think of. We haven't had any pointless answers on the show today, interestingly. You just need to find one now to go home with all that money. First, though, you've got to choose a category, and here are your 3 choices. You can go for screen sirens, classical music, or golf. Screen sirens, classical music, or golf. Oh, Joe, does that head shake mean these aren't your favourite subjects?
No, none of them.
Screen sirens, Joe?
Screen sirens, maybe, yeah, maybe. How about you?
Classical music, Helen? Golf, Helen?
Well, I do like to put my +4s on over weekends, but...
Get your cello out.
I can see it now. No, I'm not too happy with those, to be honest. But I think that you decide.
There we are, Joe.
I'm in trouble now. I know nothing about classical music.
OK.
Should we try screen sirens?
OK.
I'm going to go for screen sirens.
You're going to go for screen sirens by a process of elimination. I'm sorry, for a moment I thought those might have just been dream subjects for you. Sadly, it's not cake decorating, it's not animals in hats. Screen sirens. OK, let's find out what the question is. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many films of Marilyn Monroe as they could. Richard.
Yeah, we're looking for any feature film made for cinema release for which Marilyn Monroe received a proper acting credit. As always in these, we're not looking for short films, clip compilations, TV documentaries, anything like that. Just to name check one film, Something's Got to Give was unfinished at the time of her death, so we won't accept that. So we're looking for any Marilyn Monroe film made for the cinema.
OK, you now have up to 1 minute to come up with 3 answers. All you need to win that £7,500 is for just one of those answers to be pointless. Your 60 seconds start now.
Like it heart. That's the only one I know.
I think there's Misfits.
Yeah, that's one, yeah.
And I think...
I
Something like Health People, that's going to be too obvious.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of Misfits.
Yeah.
But I think there's one called Fireball. I don't know. It's in the back of my mind. So Misfits, Fireball. What's the one Madonna when she's the Material Girl? What was that? Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Obvious as well.
Film's not my strong point here. Let's go with those.
Yeah.
Have you picked
Yeah.
your 3? OK,
Yeah.
we'll stop the clock. Your 3 answers are...
Misfits, Fireball,
Fireball,
Gentlemen
Prefer Blondes. OK, we were looking for films of Marilyn Monroe. Which of those is your most confident shot at a pointless answer?
I think Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
We'll put that last. Which should we put up first, your least confident answer?
Fireball.
OK, Fireball, Misfits, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. There they are. OK, we were looking for films of Marilyn Monroe. This was your least confident answer. You only need to find one pointless answer to win the £7,500 jackpot. What would you spend that money on?
Lots of champagne at the wedding and a honeymoon.
Honeymoon. Do you know where you're going to go? Or is it a top secret?
At the moment, it's looking like
Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Have you been saving for a long time for the wedding?
Our parents have, yeah.
That's their spirit. Well done. Very good indeed. OK, let's see what your first answer does for you. The fireball. This is the one you were least confident in. You sure it's a Marilyn Monroe film?
I know it's a film, but that's a start, isn't it?
It's a start. It's a film. Have you seen it?
No. I've got... It was a guess, a shot in the dark.
It's a shot in the dark. OK. This is your first answer, the fireball, the one you had the least faith in. Let's see if it's a correct answer. And if it is a correct answer, let's see if it is pointless. Let's find out. The fireball is your first shot at the jackpot of £7,500. It's a correct answer. You didn't expect that at all, did you? Brilliant, Joe. Down it goes. How far down? Many congratulations. That is absolutely superb. Well done, you. Oh, that's brilliant. Well done. Well done, you. Well done. Fantastic. Congratulations. You've won that pointless jackpot of £7,500. Superb. Superb. Do you not just get a sense?
Absolutely.
You just get a sense that was meant to be, wasn't it? Because you just... Where did the fireball come from?
I think we used to both work on puzzle magazines.
Yeah.
And we do, like, lists of films for word searches.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the back of my mind, that must have been there.
Well, it was absolutely meant to be. Brilliant. What a great answer. Great couple. Richard.
Yeah, brilliantly done. That's exactly what point this is all about, those tiny little things that sort of sit in your brain you didn't even know you knew.
Yeah.
And Fireball's a great answer. It's for, you know anything about it as a film?
No.
It's my favourite.
You better go and see it now, haven't you?
Yeah, I would. It's from 1950. She plays Polly. And as you can tell, I've never heard of it either. Know nothing about it. It's her and Mickey Rooney. You could care less. The Fireball's an absolutely brilliant answer and very, very well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very many congratulations. Thanks once again to our winning contestants, Joe and Helen, who go away with today's jackpot of £7,500. Join us next time when we'll be putting more obscure knowledge to the test on Pointless. Meanwhile, it's goodbye from Richard.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.